Hi everyone, this is Thibaut, CEO of PlayPlay, and welcome to a new episode of the 3 Learnings From, a video podcast where leaders in marketing and communication come and share some key learnings from their career with us. Today I'm very happy to welcome Christen O'Brien. Hi Christen.
Hello.
So Christen is currently CMO at NFX, one of Silicon Valley's top seed-stage VC funds, where she leads their marketing, media, brand, and growth. And she previously co-founded 500 startups, an accelerator, and seed-stage VC fund. So Christen, it's really great to have you, and we'll start with your first learning, which I think is around branding.
Correct. Yeah, so the first learning is that brand is not a message, it is an identity. This is the number one thing that people get wrong, and it's understandable why they get it wrong. Is when we think of brand, we often think of the descriptors. We think of the way that we describe the brand. And so perhaps you would say, let me give an example. This is my favorite backpack that I love walking to work with. It holds my laptop and all of my things. It's made by, you can see, the North Face. And if you ask me, why do I buy the North Face backpack and products, I will tell you probably, well, look at all the zippers it has, look at all the pockets, it has this extra padding. It even has a handle right here so I could pick it up on the side. And so I will describe the utility of the product. Then if you ask me, okay, well, there's another backpack from some other brand that has all of the, can you describe what is the difference between that backpack and the North Face? And I'll be stuck. I won't be able to do it. And so if you go a level deeper, there's something about brands. Oftentimes you do have products that you really just love the features of, but there's something about the brand that you identify with. And so I can say with the North Face, one of the things I love about it is it's very outdoorsy. I love doing outdoor activities. It makes me feel like I'm athletic. And at the same time, it also feels kind of sophisticated. It feels kind of well-designed, kind of high-end. And I want to believe that I'm both athletic and, sophisticated. And so there's an identity in the brand. And so when you're starting a company and building a company, instead of thinking about what is the message you're trying to put out there, the very first thought is, who is the person? Think of brands as people. And what is the archetype of this kind of person? And how do they behave? And then you build all your messages through that lens. And so brand at its best becomes a prism for communicating an identity, and messages are just reflections of that identity.
Awesome. Super interesting, and really love the North Face example. Thank you. Let's move to learning number 2. In this one, you say that everything is becoming media.
Right, yeah. And so here we can see, if you just look all around us, we're all probably doing the same thing, where we are consuming media all day long. It's on social platforms, it's on the news, we're always online, on the internet. And so everything is becoming media. And I have a theory that goes deeper than this. Usually when people say that the best marketing is content marketing, it's stories, I think it goes deeper. I think it's because people feel a lack of connection today. On the whole, I have a feeling if we were compared to generations before us, we are much less connected. I know even for me personally, I don't live near my family. And my grandparents, where they were born, they stayed with all of their neighborhood. And so they had this deep sense of connection. I think now we look for connection in everything. We look for it in our work. We also look for it in the things that we buy. And so for that reason, I think stories become more important. You want to connect with the things that you're buying, combined with the fact that you sort of want to be a more responsible consumer today. You want to believe in the things that you're buying and believe in the goodness of that company and what they're producing. And so it's no longer enough to be the sort of traditional chief marketing officer. You actually have to come at it from the point of view of almost a writer. And so the future brands are going to be, in the future big companies, CMOs are going to be essentially managing editors. And so again, we go back to that brand archetype, but now we get further out from the brand archetype, and it's really about building the stories, and it's about writing, and it's about the language that connects with people. And the best people to do that are going to be people who have writing skills. And so they're also, of course, going to need all of the other skills of the marketer. They're going to have to be data driven. They're going to have to be brand driven, but ultimately they're going to have that writer sensibility of using words and language to connect with people.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Thank you. Quick question. You're talking about writing, but right now we are doing a video and we're also talking. Would you say that it's about content creation in general, or do you think that writing still remains a very key skill?
Writing remains the key skill because this is the medium, so you can use video, you can use podcast, you can use all kinds of different content mediums, but ultimately the ability to compose words together, it stems from a writing skill. And so you do have to be able to have that skill, and then you make a good point, translate it into different mediums. Right. Because the reality is, for us, our audience reads a lot, but there's certainly a lot of audiences that don't like reading as much. And of course, younger generations perform more visual than they prefer text, and even audio. We're huge believers in audio, but it all stems from the writing skill.
Yeah. And also, I guess, about the storytelling, the way you think about ideas, and then the way you express them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like story construction, and story construction is just a reflection of how the human brain works. It's how we're wired. Mm-hmm. We're wired for language, and we're wired for story. So understanding that the arc and the story construction and being able to use that for everything you do is a huge asset.
Cool. Thanks, Christen. Let's move to your third learning. I'll let you explain this one.
Sure. So the third learning is that movements, not marketing messages, are how great companies are born and grow today. And so again, if we look at an example of a great company, I think one of the first ones, especially, I'm here in San Francisco, the first one that anyone in technology will say is Tesla. And you can easily say Tesla is so much more than just a company. They basically looked at what is the zeitgeist of the world right now. How is the world changing? How does that become a movement such that there's forces that are pushing that to work? And then how do we ride that, almost like a surfer riding a wave? And so I think as a company, what you want to do is really look at what is the architecture of a movement. And a movement requires a lot of different components, but you're attaching yourself, it's something you believe in, but you're attaching yourself to the way the world is going, and you're helping to push that forward. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I've been involved in building companies, it's never just about trying to put our message forward. It's never just about, telling the story of the company. It's always about finding what is the deepest level of what we're trying to do and what we believe in. And then how do we match that with what's happening in the world today? So think of your company as a surfer. Think of the world as a series of waves, and you're finding that wave that's going to last a long time so you can ride it for a long time. And you have to truly believe in it too. That's the key thing.
Awesome. Super interesting. Thanks a lot, Christen. We're already done. It was very insightful. So thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Thanks. And to all, stay tuned for the next episodes. Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.